Millions of people across North America got a show like no other today. A total solar eclipse darkened the skies over parts of Mexico, the U.S. and Canada, including several spots here in Ontario. The rare celestial event happens when the moon lines up perfectly between the Earth and the sun, completely blocking out any sunlight. Now, there hasn't been an eclipse like this visible in Canada since 1979. Good evening, I'm Kelda Yoon. Here in Toronto, we were just outside of the path of totality, with the moon blocking 99.9% of the sun. It was also cloudy. Still, crowds gathered across the city to gaze up at the skies. And there were many watch parties, including one at Toronto Metropolitan University. And that's where our Chris Glover was today.
Look way in, and then...
Oh, I see it. Oh, it's just so little.
Yeah.
And you made that.
Uh-huh.
No school today, so this group of 8-year-old girls is getting an arts and crafts day with a science twist.
I think it's a pretty cool experience because I really like science.
Have you always liked science, or is this what's getting you into science?
Well, I've always liked science. It's just, this is a super cool science experiment that I've never experienced before.
They joined hundreds at Toronto Metropolitan University to watch Toronto's best shot at the total solar eclipse. Morella Wobick loves showing off her decorated paper plate that holds her protective eyewear. It's helping her see that the clouds are seriously affecting her ability to watch the eclipse's progression.
It might not ruin the party because we can still see it when it gets super dark.
And as the clouds came and went, people lined up for free protective eyewear from the university.
It's the first total one over Toronto in a really long time, so we wanted to catch it.
Have you seen it yet?
No, I have not looked up.
Okay, here, take mine.
You're gonna let me borrow?
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, wow. Oh, that's actually really cool.
The whole family's here. And yeah, we came to enjoy the eclipse here today.
Misha Shah brought her whole family for the viewing party.
My home country is India, and I saw over there like 2 solar eclipses completely, and this is my 3rd solar eclipse. So I'm really excited to see. I love it.
The sun is disappearing.
Where did it go? 8-year-old Ayan Jong excited to help her baby sister understand what's happening. What do you know about the solar eclipse?
It said the sun is that the moon just goes between the Earth and the moon just covers all the sun.
But you can only see that progression if the clouds stay away.
You can see the sun, and you can see that the moon has already started eclipsing the sun. So it's very great that the clouds have decided to take a little vacation and give the moon its chance.
And at 3:19 p.m., the clouds were in full force.
It wasn't really expecting it to be like this, but I think it's really cool, kind of like it would be at nighttime while I'm asleep.
People in Toronto didn't get a chance to see the peak of the eclipse properly. What do you think?
I'm disappointed, man.
Yeah, I could feel
I came out here to watch this.
Is this what you were hoping for?
Okay, well, we were hoping to see it, but we don't see it, but it is completely dark.
But even though it wasn't perfect, it still garnered a big celebration.
We can't see it, but we can feel it.
Even from someone who's seen it twice before.
Here, because of the clouds and environment, you can't see that much clear, but still you can feel it. So yeah, still I feel this like I saw this solar eclipse. So still I'm happy.
Chris Glover, CBC News, Toronto.
Niagara Falls was in the path of totality and considered one of the best places to watch today's solar eclipse. Our senior science reporter, Nicole Modolero, was there, and she spoke to us about her experience.
It was strange because it was overcast. We didn't think we were going to see it. We got a glimpse of partiality. Okay, this is good. And then the clouds got thicker, and we thought, oh great, it's not coming. It's not going to. And then, by some miracle, we got, the cloud thinned out, and we got to see the moon covering the sun entirely. And even better, we got to see the sun's corona, that outer atmosphere. So, wow, I was very emotional. Honestly, it was the best thing to be around people. And what would happen every so often, every time we get a little bit of break, the crowd would cheer. And you'd know, okay, there's a break in the cloud. And in fact, when it was in in totality, I wasn't even looking at that point until I heard people cheering, and then I looked up and saw this thin cloud, and it was, honestly, you've got families, you've got people from all over the world here, and to have them at least have their wish fulfilled was something. I was really happy for them. This is why I love astronomy. It unites us all in a common goal, you know, to catch maybe the meteor showers or to watch a lunar eclipse, or in this case, watch a rare solar eclipse. It's such a uniting experience, and it's something that we don't get a lot, especially in this day and age.
After a 10-game road trip to start the season, the Blue Jays are back in Toronto tonight for their big home opener, with 40,000 fans cheering them on in a newly renovated Rogers Centre that includes a brand new lower bowl. Our Dale Manukduk joins us live outside Rogers Centre tonight, and Dale, lots of excitement and happy fans because the Jays got a win.
That's right, Kelda. A little home cooking was just what the doctor ordered. The Jays opened the scoring in the second and never looked back. They win 5-2. Jose Barrios picks up his second win of the season, pitching 6 2/3 of shutout balls, striking out 6. Now, the fans were obviously excited that the boys of summer are back on Canadian soil, but also, as you mentioned, getting to experience that brand new lower bowl.
Okay, Blue Jays!
The day started with a ceremonial flag raising at Nathan Phillips Square.
I'm thrilled to welcome our beloved Blue Jays back to Toronto for the 2024 season.
The excitement of the Jays being back not just in the air, but flying through it.
I'm feeling really overwhelmed. We flew 5 hours yesterday from Victoria, British Columbia, just to see the Blue Jays.
Fans weren't the only ones excited. Players and managers happy to be home too after a disappointing 10-game road trip to start the season that saw them win just 4 games.
Great. I mean, it's a long road trip. 10 days is long any time of the year, especially right after spring training. Worth the wait, you know, both out here and in the clubhouse. They did a phenomenal job, didn't miss a beat on anything. No stone unturned, really. Guys loved it. We love it. It's awesome to be here.
Just excited to kind of get in the routine of things, but also see the fans.
Manager John Schneider referencing the brand new lower bowl that players and fans got to experience.
The world's first multi-purpose state-of-the-art dome stadium.
Rogers Arena is moving away from a multi-purpose stadium in favor of a baseball-first venue. The primary difference is all of the infield seats are facing the infield action.
Blue Jays fans, please welcome.
Some of the construction workers who helped build the new 100 level were honored before the game.
Looks great. Yeah, I love the addition of the towels today. That's a really nice addition to that, and the cup holders.
It's beautiful. They did a great job.
It's going to be so much better to be able to watch the games because you are going to be focused towards where the play is happening, so excited for that. We're going to be just sitting over here, so it's going to be great.
Pretty nice. I like it. It's pretty woo!
In total, the tab on the multi-year renovation runs $400 million.
I'm curious to see how the fans take to that and whether that leads to increased attendance, increased revenue from concession sales and so on. Because of that increased attendance, the premium hospitality areas that they've created, how much of a spike in revenue is that going to be for the club, and whether the club can turn that revenue also into free agent signings and player additions. So the on-field definitely is impacted by what's happening off the field.
As for the outlook on the season,
any fan just like myself, just like John Schneider, would like to see us start off 10-0 and like to see us score 8 runs every day and can empathize with that frustration that it isn't happening on a nightly basis, but we see so many reasons to believe that it will.
Now, Kelda, I love that kid who described the new renovations as woo! I can't go as high as him, but I do know that a lot of fans will be woo-hooing tomorrow night when it's the return of Looney Hot Dog Night, which runs every Tuesday, home game, and last year the fans wolfed down a record $693,865 dogs. Kelda, I know I can go about a half dozen deep. What about you? We'll send it back.
Thanks so much, Dale. That's our Dale Manukduk. Welcome back. A collision reconstruction specialist was called to testify by the defense in the trial of Umar Zamir today. Zamir has pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder in the death of Toronto police officer Jeffrey Northrup. Greg Ross has the latest.
This morning in the trial of Umar Zamir, the defense called their second witness, accident reconstruction specialist Barry Raftery. His testimony comes just days after Toronto Police accident reconstruction specialist Jeff Bassingthwaighte testified for the Crown last week. Now, Raftery told the jury today that he agrees with a great deal of Bassingthwaighte's testimony, including his determination that Constable Jeffrey Northrup was sideswiped by Zamir's BMW as it was reversing out of his parking spot in the underground parking garage at Nathan Phillips Square. The testimony of both reconstruction specialists contradicts testimony provided earlier in this trial by 3 Toronto police officers who were there that night and said that Northrup was standing in front of the vehicle when he was hit. Both Raftery and Bassingthwaighte referred to a cleaning mark on the front fender of the vehicle, which they say indicates Northrup was standing beside Zamir's car. Raftery testified it was likely a glancing blow, and he said it was possible Zamir wouldn't even have heard it. But he says it would have been enough to knock Northrup to the ground or cause him to lose his footing and fall. Raftery says he was able to create drawings to scale of the area in the parking garage where it happened, and he was able to match those drawings up frame by frame with security video from the parking garage showing every movement of Zamir's vehicle. And he says by using that movement, he was able to determine the location where Constable Northrup would have fallen to the ground. He says that spot lines up directly in front of Zamir's BMW when it stopped reversing and began driving forward. Now, Raftery testified that the hood of Zamir's BMW would have created a blind spot, making it impossible to see Northrup if he were laying on the ground in front of the vehicle. Raftery will be back on the stand tomorrow morning where he will face cross-examination from the Crown. It's expected the defense will call Zamir himself to the stand as early as tomorrow afternoon. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
The man who was convicted of murder and attempted murder after deliberately driving his truck into a Muslim family in London, Ontario, will be appealing his conviction. Nathaniel Veltman was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 25 years in February. 4 members of the Afzal family were killed in the June 2021 attack. The family's young son was the only survivor. In her ruling, a judge determined Veltman's actions were a, quote, textbook example of terrorism. However, Veltman's lawyer says there are grounds to show he was wrongfully convicted. His lawyer says the appeal will be filed within the next 2 months. More private medical clinics are popping up across the province, charging patients thousands of dollars for their services. It includes clinics led by nurse practitioners, as well as so-called executive doctors' clinics. Today, the provincial NDP called on the Ford government to do something about it. Queen's Park reporter Lorenda Redekop has those details.
Arella Ganon says she's left scrambling with no family doctor after her physician quit.
I can't find someone who will renew the prescriptions of drugs that keep me alive.
She'd been a patient at the same clinic for decades.
My doctor diagnosed my first brain tumor by looking at my face. She noticed something was different in my appearance.
She says her doctor left for private clinic MD Direct, charging people up to $5,000 a year. It's one of a number of executive medical practices in Ontario offering services not covered by OHIP, such as more detailed physicals.
Anyone charging people for healthcare should be held accountable. Full stop.
Today, the Ontario NDP called for a special audit of charges for primary health. Some nurse practitioner-led clinics are also charging people. It's legal as they're not specifically named in the Canada Health Act. And so far, neither the province nor the federal government has acted.
We will take action if the federal government doesn't close the federal loophole on that.
We'll take action if. We'll take action when. The people of Ontario are demanding action now.
The Liberal health critic says the province can change the loophole.
And that can very easily be amended to include nurse practitioner, to ensure that nurse practitioner services are covered under OHIP and that all primary care services are accessible without a credit card.
The Premier has repeatedly said people won't be paying for health care as the province is increasing the use of private clinics for surgeries.
Make no mistake about it, everyone's going to be paying with their OHIP card, not their credit card. They'll never use their credit card. They'll always use their OHIP card. It will be paid through your OHIP card, not your credit card.
But given the fees for primary care, here's the NDP's assessment.
If he means what he says, that Ontarians should only have to pay with their OHIP card, not a credit card, he's failing.
In the end, a special audit of these private clinics will not go ahead. It had to be approved by a Queen's Park committee. The government side members voted it down. Loretta Redicomp, CBC News, Toronto.
Meanwhile, Premier Doug Ford is calling on the LCBO to bring back paper bags. In a letter addressed to the LCBO's CEO, the Premier said, quote, "At a time when many Ontario families are already struggling to make ends meet, every additional expense counts. That includes charging customers for reusable bags instead of the free paper bags." Now, Ford also questioned the environmental benefits of removing paper bags in the first place, considering they're an easily recycled alternative to plastic bags. In a statement provided to CBC, the LCBO says it will take steps to reintroduce single-use paper bags. The Crown Corporation hasn't confirmed when the bags will be available again, but say more information will be shared in the coming weeks. Toronto's soaring rental prices is making the city increasingly unaffordable. The crisis hurting some more than others. Volunteers in East York say immigrants in neighborhoods like Thorncliffe Park are struggling to buy household items, and some families don't even have mattresses to sleep on. Olivia Bowden has more as part of CBC's Communities in Focus initiative.
Volunteers load up a van with a kitchen dining set. It's for a family who recently moved to Thorncliffe Park from Afghanistan.
So business type of clothes or...
They're being helped by Home Essentials Newcomer Support. It's a group that started running out of the Donway Covenant United Church in November. They have thousands of donated household items for newcomers, and they're all free, including delivery. The organization says the high cost of rent in Toronto means there's nothing left for basic goods. Amina Cote is the founder.
It's hard for newcomer families to try to navigate through all the different things that they have to, the challenges that they have to go through.
Cote and 40 church volunteers have helped 95 families since November. But there are over 390 families on their waiting list. With their limited resources, they can only book in a handful of families a week to pick out items. Their services are for people who live in Thorncliffe and Flemington Park. And Cote says they've seen many and heartbreaking situations.
When you actually go and help these people, and they're there, and you can see that there's like a whole bunch of children, and they're only living on a carpet. Like that rug is where they sleep, they eat.
The family they're helping today are a couple and their children, which include a 2-week-old baby. They are picking out baby furniture. CBC Toronto isn't naming the father of the family as he's concerned about stigma as he searches for a job.
Home rent is very high, so newcomer need the support.
And the volunteers say many of the families are in similar scenarios. Data they've collected shows the majority of families who want their help have children under 18. Most also do not speak English as a first language. They mostly speak Pashto, Dari, and Farsi. Kathy Patterson, who helped the organization launch out of the church, says they're looking to expand due to demand.
I do not think the need is going away anytime soon. So it will involve long-term funding, volunteers, and then, of course, the ability to be able to handle all these donations.
Items can be dropped off at the church anytime. They are looking for furniture, clothes, and kitchenware in good condition. And they're looking for more volunteers. Olivia Bowden, CBC News, Toronto.
And you are looking at a live shot of Toronto, where we are sitting at 7 degrees with mainly clear skies. Colette Kennedy joins us now with your forecast. And Colette, if only the clouds had parted earlier, we could have gotten a better glimpse of the eclipse. Still a very cool experience, though.
Yeah, that's right, Kelda. We did have that band of clouds that rained on some parades, I guess, so to speak. Bad choice of words there. But you know what? You could kind of see it reflected here with some of the daytime highs, where in eastern Ontario there was a little more sunshine. Check out the nation's capital there. And of course, towards southwestern Ontario, 20 for Windsor, 19 for Sarnia, and just some hey, they were fine. They were on the money in terms of seasonal, but some slightly cooler readings comparatively that we had around the Golden Horseshoe. Overnight tonight, it will be 4 degrees, mostly clear skies. Now, we'll have sun to start the day tomorrow, but then some increasing cloudiness, and it's more towards the evening we have the risk of some thunderstorms bubbling up. So locally, there could be some heavier downpours, but there's a mild number for you of a high of 16 for Toronto. Windsor overnight tonight, 7 degrees with that southerly flow. The winds picking up tomorrow, and the temperature even warmer than today, but a more widespread risk of that thunderstorm activity and a bit earlier into the afternoon. So 22 will be your afternoon high there. So here's what's happening. We kind of had this warm front, and that was responsible for some of the cloud cover that we have been dealing with. And then we get into clearer conditions through the overnight. But as we go through the day tomorrow, we will begin to contend with the cold front approaching. And as that cold front approaches, that's why we get the more blustery southwesterly winds out ahead of it, and they'll push those temperatures up. But once that front comes through and that provides a little bit of lift, is when we into the afternoon hours start to get into a few thunderstorms bubbling up, and then into the evening, especially to the north of the GTA. That's where there's going to be the more enhanced risk. So I don't think it's going to be widespread, but like I said, kind of locally, you could get some of those heavier downpours. Then that carries on through. It's a nice setup for us as we go into Wednesday. Things change, though. This playmaker is going to be moving in for Thursday, so that's when we'll get into some moderate rain coming our way. Temperatures overnight tonight, quite a range here from Ottawa at 2, 3 for Toronto, and then some milder numbers back towards Chatham, Kent, and towards the Windsor area as well. But do enjoy the not only 16 for the daytime high tomorrow for Toronto, how about 17 for Wednesday with that sun mixing with cloud, and then things will come down a little bit as we go towards the end of the week and the wet weather rolls back in.
Thanks so much, Colette. And that's our show for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Dwight Drummond has your next local newscast tomorrow at 6. I will see you back here tomorrow night at 11. Have a great night, everyone.